Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to today's video about how much money we spent traveling to the Northeast. The Northeast, by far, has been our most expensive trip to date. This is our third year of full-time living, and our goal this year was to get to Maine. And we got to Maine, but we didn't get there without spending a lot of money. Now, we knew going to the Northeast that it would be more expensive than anything we've ever experienced before, but we didn't think it would be this expensive. So we're gonna be comparing this year to our previous 2 years of full-time living. Our first year was out west, when we thought that was expensive compared to where we're from in Texas. Our second year was Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, that area. And that was also expensive compared to what we were used to in Texas. So we expected the Northeast to be comparable. Little did we know that we're gonna spend more than double in some of the categories than we're used to spending over the last 2 years. All right, so to lay it out for you, this year we started our adventures in Texas and our goal was to get to Maine. We got to Maine in July, so I'm gonna tell you guys how much we spent starting in Texas every month up until we made it to Maine in July. We're also only gonna be talking about RV travel related expenses. I'm not gonna talk about the normal stuff that you have no matter where you are, like cell phones, health insurance, internet, car insurance, registration. All that stuff's gonna happen no matter where you are. I'm also not gonna talk about repairs and maintenance because that's a video in itself, because we are spending a lot on repairs and maintenance, but that would also happen no matter where we travel. So in today's video, we're just gonna be talking about RV travel specific cost, such as diesel, adventures, RV parks, eating out, groceries, tolls, laundry, that sort of thing. All the things that are going to be a cost you incur when you're traveling to certain parts of the United States. But before I talk about how much we spent on the trip itself, let's go back to the beginning. Our adventure starts this year in January, and we're back home in Texas, finishing up with the holidays with the family, and then we take a 5-week caravan trip with Phil and Lolo and Thomas and Beverly to Fredericksburg and to Big Bend, Texas. For that month, our totals were, sorry, I'm gonna read because it's a lot of numbers. We spent $1,335.40 on groceries. We spent $1,221.99 on RV parks. We spent $1,088.53 on diesel. We spent $386.44 on eating out. We spent $96 on adventures. We spent $68.40 on propane for a monthly total of $4,196.76. The reason I'm bringing up January and the next month, February, is because I want to give you some sort of guideline as to what we were expecting to spend versus what we end up spending when we get to the Northeast. I know these first 2 months we're not really on our way Northeast, but we're in Texas and we're doing the same sort of activities, so it's a good comparison as to what we were used to paying down south versus how expensive it got as we head north. For the month of January, our groceries were higher because we had just got done with our family time at Christmas, and we usually purge the RV. So we didn't have any food in the RV because this is the time of the year we clean everything out and kind of start over. So we spent a lot of money on groceries because we had to start from scratch that month. The diesel was also high because this was a special trip out to Big Bend, and there's nothing close to Big Bend. So we basically drove to Big Bend with the purpose of going to Big Bend. We didn't take our time getting there. It's a long trip, so that's why the diesel was so expensive in January. All right, for our next month in February, we're still down in Big Bend, Texas with Phil and Lolo and Thomas and Beverly. And then we decide to make our way back towards home. But we stop halfway in New Braunfels and we spend the rest of the month in Texas hanging out with our friends and family. For the month of February, we spent $1,469 on RV parks, $1,016.63 on groceries, $877.87 on eating out, $754.07 on diesel, $115.63 on adventures, $29.25 on propane, for a monthly total of $4,262.45. Eating out went up considerably this month because we were back in New Braunfels and it was our last few weeks hanging out with Phil and Lolo and Thomas and Beverly. So we ate out a lot. We also saw a huge decrease in diesel because when you're out in Big Bend, you gotta drive everywhere. When we got to New Braunfels, we hung out a lot at the RV park and the local attractions, so we didn't do much driving in the month of February. These last 2 months is the normal expense we're used to paying when we RV, and it lines up with everything we've done for the previous 2 years. Starting in March, things get expensive. Real quick reminder, today is the last day for you to get entered to win the Brooklyn Bed mattress giveaway. That's right, we're giving away an RV mattress by Brooklyn Bedding to one of you guys out there. You get to choose any style, any size, any firmness, any thickness, any mattress on their website you can choose, and we'll mail it directly to you. And all you gotta do to get entered to win, head over to pavingnewpass.com, get yourself some merch, get yourself entered to win your very own RV mattress by Brooklyn Bedding. The contest ends tonight. Next up, the month of March, when things start to get a little expensive. So we start the month off by leaving Texas and we take a detour to Memphis because we have to make a repair to our slide that we damaged and during our time in Big Bend. Once we get the slide repaired, we leave Memphis and we head to Nashville, where we enjoy the Country Music Hall of Fame, we enjoy Broadway Street. We really had a great time in Nashville, and then we head down to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, where we had an excellent time meeting up with old friends. We got to explore the Great Smoky Mountains, and we went full tourist mode in Pigeon Forge because we needed a vacation. And then we finished up the month by heading to West Virginia, which was unfortunate because we got there the last week of March and nothing in West Virginia opens up until April 1st. So we didn't really do much, but we did go explore the New River Gorge National Park. For the month of March, we spent $2,010.58 on RV parks, $1,359.68 on groceries. Our adventures cost us $863.75, $803.85 on diesel, $452.49 on eating out, $118.12 on propane, and we spent $45 on tolls. We spent a lot of propane because it was still getting to the 30s on us at night when we got to Tennessee and West Virginia. RV parks got expensive this month because we stayed in 4 different parks this month, so we didn't get very much discount on staying longer. So we paid a premium on our stays this month. We also spent a lot of money on adventures and eating out because we got to Pigeon Forge and we went full tourist mode. Next up, April, when things really start to get expensive. We start April off by heading to North Carolina. We go check out the NASCAR Hall of Fame. We find the original Blue Store, and we do a lot of hiking. We then move right down the road to Williamsburg, Virginia, where we realize there's so much to do there that we decide to film a video every single day for a week. From the Jamestown settlement to the Yorktown battlefield, there is so much to do in Williamsburg, Virginia. We even went to Busch Gardens 3 times. Virginia is also where we start to notice that the prices for everything are starting to go up. And this also starts our science experiment on eating seafood up the East Coast, where we're gonna eat seafood at every state along our way to Maine to make sure, for science, that when we get there, the Maine lobster is actually the best. We then leave Virginia and head to Washington, D.C., which turns out to be one of our most exciting stays, and we spent 3 days in a row in downtown Washington, D.C., exploring all the monuments and all that the beautiful city has to offer. For April, we spent $2,327.30 on RV parks. Eating out, we spent $1,085.67. On our adventures, we spent $929.73. On groceries, we spent $902.19. We spent $29.50 on propane, and we spent $6.12 on tolls, for a monthly total of $5,874.68. In just 4 months of this trip, we've gone from low 4,000s a month to almost 6,000 a month on the same stuff. So we're already getting significantly more expensive than it was in Texas. So this month, RV parks are starting to get expensive, but that's because Cherry Hill RV Park in Washington, D.C. is our most expensive RV park we've ever stayed at, but it was totally worth it. Tons of amenities, and they help you get in and out of downtown D.C. without using your dually. We also learned that seafood on the East Coast is not cheaper because it's from the East Coast. It's actually more expensive because they're catering to tourists. So while we thought the further north we got, the more affordable it would get, it's actually getting less affordable the further north we go with the seafood, but it's still pretty delicious. Next up, May. Welcome to May. We start off May by leaving Washington, D.C. and traveling to Delaware. Now, we've been going hard at this point, so we actually don't do much in Delaware because we're staying at a Sun Outdoors Rehoboth Bay, and it is an amazing park. And they have a heated pool, so it's the first time all year in May that we can actually get into a pool. We then leave Delaware and head to Cape May, New Jersey. This is the first of 2 stops in New Jersey, and we start off by eating seafood and exploring the local traditions, which is whale watching. We gave it a shot. We were not successful. We didn't see any whales, but we had a great time on the boat anyway. We then left Cape May and traveled to North New Jersey around Andover. And our purpose of this stay was that was the closest RV park we get to New York City. Not only did we enjoy a day in New York City, we met our friend Marcy, who used to work in downtown New York, and she gave us the lowdown on everything we need to do to be successful in downtown New York. We had a great time in New York City. New York City is really awesome. We then left New York and we traveled to Mystic, Connecticut. This was Memorial Day weekend. We ended up spending a lot of time enjoying the festivities at the RV park, including a cornhole tournament, which we got second place. There was also live music and plenty of cooking, and we got to meet so many people in the campground. Before we left, we decided to go check out the Mystic Seaport, but this month was really expensive for us. We spent $2,387.46 on RV parks. On our groceries, we spent $1,515.54. We spent $1,185.45 eating out, $491.49 on diesel. We spent $117.31 on tolls. Yeah, tolls got us in New Jersey. We started driving the New Jersey Turnpike. We spent $44.59 on propane for a grand total this month of $6,305.06. RV parks were really expensive this month, and that's because 3 of the 4 parks were Sun Outdoor resorts. Now, they were awesome, but you're gonna pay for awesome. Groceries are also starting to get very expensive this month. When we got to Jersey, we started to notice how much more I was spending at Walmart on the same things. Welcome to June, and we start June off by heading to Rhode Island. This also starts the rain that never stops in the Northeast from us. So June, it starts raining, and it's still raining on us. So in Rhode Island, we continue our seafood experiment. We do a rail experience along the bay, and we hang out at the campground on the one day it didn't rain. We then left Rhode Island and head to Massachusetts, where we stay at one of the nicest RV parks we've ever stayed at, in the Yogi Bear Cranberry Acres. We also have family come visit us, and we have a great time exploring Cape Cod and Boston. We also got to see some whales. Seeing whales was awesome. We then leave Massachusetts and we finally get to Maine. We're our first stop in Maine. We get to Old Orchard Beach, Maine, and we meet up with some of our friends that we met a long time ago, back in January in Big Bend, Texas. Casey and Kristen, they are in Old Orchard Beach at the same campground we are. It's also still raining. Been raining this whole month. For the month of June, we spent $2,993.01 on RV parks. This is our most expensive month for RV parks that we've ever paid the entire time we've been traveling. Our adventures, we spent $1,132.39, $994.08 on eating out, $957.21 on groceries. Our diesel cost us $512, $55 on laundry because we had to stay at a park that had no sewer, so we couldn't use our washer and dryer in the RV because we had no way to get rid of the gray water. We also spent $45.25 on tolls for a monthly total of $6,688.94. It's gotten really expensive since Texas now. So the reason the RV parks were so expensive this month is because the Yogi Bear Cranberry Acres was an amazing park, also came with an amazing price, our most expensive stay we've ever had. The other parks this month were also Sun Outdoors, so they're also spendy. The adventures were also high this month because we had family in town when we were in Boston area, and then we met up with Kristen and Casey in Old Orchard Beach. So we were having a lot of adventures, and we were also eating out a lot. So that's why those costs are higher this month. Welcome to July, where we finally make it to Maine and our goal of the entire year. So we start the month off by finishing up our stay in Old Orchard Beach. Then we move to Bar Harbor, where our friends Kristen and Casey are also staying. We loved hanging out with them. We met so many viewers, and I even got to take a scenic flight over Acadia National Park with one of you guys out there. Thanks, Greg. We finally get to try the ever elusive lobster roll in Maine, and it is the best lobster roll we've ever had. The lobster is also the best in Maine as well. So our science experiment is finally over. We are finally done spending so much money on this seafood. It was worth it, but man, was it expensive to test the lobster from Virginia all the way to Maine. You know, just to make sure that in Maine it's the best. For science, you know. We celebrate turning 40 and reaching our goal of making it to Maine, and we spend the last week of July in New Hampshire. For the month of July, we spent $2,295.35 on RV parks, $1,979.90 on groceries, $1,257.54 on eating out. Our diesel cost us $795.92. Our adventures were $421.38, $20.78 on propane, and we spent $12 on tolls for a monthly total of $6,782.87. cents. Groceries were the most expensive this month they have been this entire trip. And I went back and looked, and the 2 months that we spent the most on groceries happened to be the areas where they don't sell plastic bags. That's right, plastic bags. They don't give you plastic bags in several states in the Northeast, like Delaware, Jersey, Maryland, New York, and Maine don't give you bags. When we were in those states, we spent the most we've ever spent on groceries. Eating out was also expensive this month because we hung out with Kristen and Casey and several other of our friends that we knew along our ways. So we ate out quite a bit. We also knew this would be the last chance we would have to have some lobster, so we kind of overdid it in Bar Harbor. Wow. That is a lot of money that we have spent on this trip to the Northeast, and it only gets more expensive the further north we go. We started this year in January in Texas spending $4,196.76 a month, and we ended in July in Maine paying $6,782.87. That is a huge increase between Texas and Maine on the same stuff that it costs to travel full-time and enjoy your experiences. Now let's add up the total of our entire trip so far. So far, we have spent $39,764.24, and that's just on RV and RV travel related expenses. Now, in order to put that in perspective, let's compare that number to the numbers from the previous 2 years of full-time living. Just this year alone, in 7 months, we have spent $14,704.69 on RV parks. That comes out to $2,167 a month, and a total of $69.36 a day for RV parks. That average right there is what we used to consider an expensive stay. $69 a night, we were like, we're in a resort, this is expensive. To put it in perspective, the last 2 years, 2 full years of full-time living, we spent $23,894.50 on RV parks. That works out to $955 a month, and a total of $32.73 a day. This trip alone, compared to the last 2 years of full-time living, we're spending over double what we normally spend to park the RV. Groceries have been super expensive on this trip to the Northeast. We have spent a total of $9,066.55 in 7 months on groceries. That works out to $1,295.21 a month, for a total of $42.76 a day on just groceries. In the previous 2 years of full-time living, we spent a total of $17,652.13 on groceries. That works out to $735.50 a month, for a total of $24.18 a day. That's almost double what we have spent each month on groceries compared to the last 2 years versus 7 months here in the Northeast. Eating out. Now this is a big one, mostly because for science, we had to test all the seafood up the entire East Coast. But so far on this 7-month trip, we have spent $6,239.54 eating out. That works out to $891.36 a month, for a total of $29.43 a day. Look, I know we ate out too much, but it was for science. We had to make sure this was the best seafood. Over the last 2 years of full-time living, we only spent $5,210.95 eating out. So in 7 months, we've spent $1,000 more on eating out than we did the previous 24 months. That works out to $217.12 a month, for a total of $7.13 a day. Yeah, I know. We've spent 3 times the amount on eating out. Not only do we eat out more because we were checking out all the seafood, it's more expensive up here. We went from about $100 for a family of 5 to over $200 for a family of 5 for a normal meal. This is not fancy, not some sit-down restaurant that's super nice or something extravagant. Everything just costs more up here. But we spent 3 times the amount we normally spend eating out on this trip alone than we had the last 2 years. Diesel. We have spent $4,040.03 on diesel in these first 7 months. That comes out to $720 a month and a total of $23.73 a day. The first 2 years of full-time living, we spent $17,086 on diesel. That works out to $711.94 a month, for a total of $23.73 a day. That seems on par with what we've done for the last 2 years. We're spending the same amount on diesel per month. One little tidbit I've noticed though, The other months, we were actually doing a lot of traveling, covering a lot of ground. Up here in the Northeast, we never move more than like 2 or 3 hours or 200 miles. So we're spending the same on diesel, but we're not covering as much ground as when we were out west. Diesel, it's more expensive up here and it doesn't take you as far. Adventures. So far on this trip, in the first 7 months of the year, we have spent $4,122.11 on adventures. That works out to $588.87 a month for a total of $19.44 a day. Now, when you compare it to the last 2 years of full-time living, we spent a total of $6,696.15 on adventures, works out to $279 a month, and a total of $9.17 a day. Adventures on the Northeast have cost us double over what we're used to spending over the last 2 years. Now, granted, a lot of the things in our first year were things like this right here: hiking, national park things, free things. But our second year in Florida and the Southeast was very much like up here. There's a lot of things to do and a lot of things that cost to do, but overall it's cost us double in these first 7 months of this year than it has the previous 2 years of full-time living. Propane. On this 7-month trip, we have spent a total of $310.64 on propane. That works out to $44.37 a month, and a total of $1.46 a day for propane. Now, the previous 2 years, we spent a total of $1,344.15 on propane. That works out to $56 a month and $1.84 a day. We spent more than we normally spend, but it's pretty close to average. But we kind of got ahead of the good weather. So we were in Tennessee and Washington, D.C. and Virginia. We were kind of there before it warmed up. So we were still seeing temperatures in the low 30s at night. So we were going through propane like crazy at the start of this trip. In the end, we haven't spent much on propane. Tolls. We spent $255.68 on tolls. That works out to $32.24 a month, a total of $1.06 a day. In our previous 2 years of full-time travel, we spent $760 on tolls. That works out to $31.66 a month, and a total of $1.04 a day. Tolls are on par for what we've used to be paying. I will say though, some of the tolls were excessive. Like when we crossed the Chesapeake Bay Bridge from Maryland to Delaware, that cost us $24. And then when we took the Governor Cuomo Bridge to avoid the George Washington Bridge in New York, that cost us $65 with our triple axle toy hauler. But overall, the tolls haven't been bad, and at least when you pay a toll, the road is actually sort of nice and enjoyable up here in the Northeast. Check out that view right there. That's the view for laundry. So our last spending expense I want to talk about is laundry. So far on this trip, we've spent $55 on laundry. That works out to $7.85 a month, or a total of 25 cents a day for laundry. The previous 2 years of full-time living, we spent $109.20 on laundry, works out to $4.55 a month for a total of 15 cents a day. Now, we don't normally use laundry facilities at the RV parks, but up here, we actually had to use it 2 weeks in a row because we had 2 weeks where we had sites with no sewer, so we couldn't use our own washer and dryer. Laundry is pretty much on par for how we normally use laundry because we do take care of our own laundry inside the RV, but we always use the facilities at the RV parks to help with the linens and the towels and the big items that don't do very well inside a RV washer and dryer. All right, just to compare prices between what I'm paying up here in the Northeast and what I'm used to paying back home in Texas, I called up Phil to help me out.
Hey Kevin, I heard food prices are pretty high up there.
Yeah, Phil, things are pretty high up here. How about we compare some prices on a few things?
Good old hickory smoked bacon, 24 ounces, $5.97 today.
Hey Phil, our bacon's the exact same price. It's $5.97 up here too.
1 pound ground beef chuck, $5.17.
All right, Phil, our pound of meat costs $5.82. So it's slightly more expensive than what you're paying down south.
A gallon of milk is $3.02.
A gallon of milk up here is $2.72.
12 eggs, grade A. I forgot the price. $1.54 for a dozen eggs.
All right, Phil, you're actually more expensive on eggs too. A dozen large eggs is $1.16.
A 6-pack of Corona is $10.27.
They're out of it right now, but a 6-pack of Corona Extra is the same price as yours, $10.27.
Just sitting here in Phil's chair, waiting to get gas. Regular gas, $3.49, diesel, $3.65.9. Y'all get some.
All right, Phil, the gas is $3.89 and the diesel is $4.49 a gallon. Thanks for helping me out, Phil. That's very interesting. The groceries are almost exactly the same price. The only thing we're really paying more for up here compared to down south is meat and diesel. Everything else seems to be about the same. Look at that view. This is awesome. This is one thing about the Northeast I do love. Plenty of views, plenty of waterfalls. So as you can see, there are several of the categories in our spending that are over double what we've spent in the last 2 years of full-time living. It could be because of the Northeast, or it could just be because in general, America has gotten more expensive. We are only halfway through our trip to Maine. We made it to Maine, but we still have to make it back home. We have 5 more months and 9 more states to travel to get back to Texas by Christmas time. Do you guys think it's gonna be more expensive or less expensive getting back home? We took the East Coast on the way up, and on the way home, we're chasing the Canadian border and the Midwest to get back to Texas. What is the most expensive RV trip you've ever taken? Let us know in the comments. Since RV parks are our biggest expense on this trip, what would you guys think about us telling you about all the parks we stayed at on this entire trip, starting in Texas, all the way through Maine, tell you how much we spent, and let you know what we thought about them. Were they worth it or were they not worth it? Me and Alicia have very different opinions on our RV parks. We love you. Thanks for hanging out. See you in the next one.